What kind of person files for divorce while you're in a coma? Think about it. What if the person you trusted most waited until you couldn't breathe, speak, or move to betray you? I woke up drowning in wires, tubes down my throat, machines clicking, hissing, and beeping in every direction. My mouth was dry, my chest ached, my arms wouldn't move, and for a second I thought I was dead. Then I saw the ceiling fan turning slowly above me, sterile white tiles, the faint hum of fluorescent lights. I was alive, barely. My name is Raphael Thomas. I'm 42. I build bridges for a living. Lead engineer at Palladian Construction. I've survived scaffolding collapses, crane malfunctions, even a near-fatal fall in 2019. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened after I survived this particular fall. A nurse stood at the edge of my hospital bed. She looked young, nervous, like she'd rather be anywhere else. She leaned in and said something softly, like she didn't want anyone else to hear. "Sir, I'm sorry to disturb you, but your wife filed for divorce. Yesterday, I couldn't speak, couldn't even process." "Layla? No, that made no sense. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos." My wife, the woman who stood by me through late-night deadlines, who brought lunch to job sites, who cried when I got promoted to regional project lead. That Layla? I blinked once, twice, trying to breathe past the ventilator. But the nurse had already turned away, like she'd done her part, like I was supposed to just accept that. A few hours later, the memories started trickling in. The collapse. God, the collapse. We were inspecting a joint on the west truss of the Madison River Bridge. I remember looking down, feeling the beam shift, and then sirens, cold steel, sky spinning, then darkness, complete silence for I don't know how long. They told me I was in a medically induced coma for 37 days. Heart complications, fluid in my lungs. They weren't sure I'd make it. Apparently, neither was Layla. I turned my head slowly. It took effort. Everything hurt. The chair beside my bed was empty. No flowers. No get well card. Not even a damn sticky note. She hadn't been here. Not today. Not yesterday. Maybe not all. The nurse said she filed the papers yesterday, while I was still sedated, while I was barely clinging to life. Who does that? Who walks into a hospital room where your husband is on life support and brings a lawyer? I tried to stay calm, but something cracked in me right there. Not loud, not violent, pure anger, just pure clean rage, like steel under pressure. I stared at the wall for hours, thinking, running mental blueprints like I was on a job site. Layla was always calm, always calculating. It's what I loved about her. She didn't raise her voice, didn't play games. But now, that calm felt dangerous. Had she planned this? How long had she been planning to leave me? Why? Did she wait until I collapsed to make her move? I thought we were solid. Obviously, I was wrong. If anything was solid, it was my blind love for her. The sun set. Shadows stretched across the room. Still no Layla. Still no answers. The only thing louder than the silence was the sound of the heart monitor. Steady, taunting, beep, beep, beep. Each one sounded like a countdown. The next morning, a different nurse came in. I tried to write with shaking fingers. Scribbled a question on the notepad beside my bed. Did my wife visit me? She hesitated, flipped through a clipboard, bit her lip. Yes, sir. In the earlier days after your accident, she was coming in every other day, but recently, she's been here a few times, usually with someone named Jack Mateo. Jack Mateo, that's not family. That's her divorce lawyer. I'd seen his card once in her coat pocket months ago. Thought it was nothing. She said it was for a friend. Guess I was the friend. Back when I was younger, I used to believe betrayal came loud. Screaming, crying, breaking dishes. But now I know better. Real betrayal is quiet. It waits until you're most vulnerable, until you're voiceless, helpless. It walks into a hospital room with a clipboard and a pen and signs away your life. She didn't even leave a note. Not one line, not even a lie, just silence. But I wasn't going to stay silent because I wasn't dead and I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. She had a plan. And step one, make sure I couldn't fight back. I was still stuck in that hospital bed, still hooked up, still healing. But every hour, my brain got sharper. And with every breath I drew through the oxygen tube, one truth cut clearer than the rest. She never expected me to wake up. Not ever. Flashbacks hit me like bricks to the chest. Layla, standing at the foot of my bed, hair pulled back, no makeup, dead calm. But she wasn't alone. Behind her, Jack Mateo, her lawyer. Not once, not twice, 6 times, according to the nurses. They didn't bring flowers. They brought paperwork. One nurse, Marcy, the older one with silver braids, whispered it to me on her night shift rounds. She asked if she could sign your discharge papers. Said you'd given her medical proxy. I didn't. I never did. Layla and I had a joint medical directive from years ago. But full proxy? Never. Still, she asked, while I was in a coma, still unconscious, still unresponsive. She wanted me discharged, not to take me home, but to move me, quietly, without questions. Later, I requested the visitor log. The nurse hesitated. I said it was for my peace of mind, that I had memory gaps, which was true. She handed it over like it weighed something. My hand shook reading it. Layla Thomas, 11:47 a.m. Layla Thomas, 2:09 p.m. Layla Thomas, 9:31 a.m. Layla Thomas, 12:15 p.m. Layla Thomas, 9 a.m. Layla Thomas, 10:22 a.m. Every visit, within business hours. Every time, accompanied. Same name. Over and over, Jack Mateo. They weren't visiting out of love. They were clocking in. I didn't speak. Not to the nurses. Not to anyone. But inside, the engineer in me started running numbers. Patterns. Timelines. Possibilities. I laid it out like a structural blueprint. I'd been in a coma for 37 days. From the day she started visiting with Jack by day 4, she asked about discharge. A few weeks later, while I'm still out, she filed for divorce. She was counting on my body giving out before I could ask why. And then I started noticing more. My phone was gone. Wallet? Gone. I asked for my belongings. They brought me a bag, but it was incomplete. Your wife took the rest, the orderly said. Said she'd bring it back. She never did. I wasn't just suspicious anymore. I was sure. Layla wasn't just leaving me. She was replacing me, erasing my name from bank accounts, our house, maybe even Palladian's investment property we co-signed on last year. She was moving before I could wake up, before I could stand, before I could speak. And Jack Mateo? He was just the courier, the one pulling levers behind her deadpan face. But I know how systems work. Load-bearing structures, fault lines, hidden weaknesses, and the one thing Layla never accounted for, that I would live, that I was still calculating, still building. She thought this was demolition, but it wasn't. It was the beginning of my reconstruction. They say death changes people, but greed? That's always been there. They finally let me have a laptop. Nothing fancy, just enough to check my email and distract myself from the endless beeping and hospital food. But I didn't want distraction. I wanted proof. First thing I checked, the joint account, $11.29. I stared at the number like it was a typo. We'd had over $48,000 in there over a month ago. It was where we kept project bonuses, rental income, quarterly dividends from my Palladian stock options. Gone. Every penny. I logged into our brokerage next. For tabs in, I stopped breathing. Investment portfolio closed. Liquidated. 4 high-yield accounts drained. Mutual funds cashed out. Digital paperwork showed a transfer authorization, signed and dated by me, but I didn't sign it. I couldn't. That was the first time I felt the full weight of it. The cold, brutal math of betrayal. She didn't just file for divorce. She buried me. Financially, I was already dead. I opened my email to distract myself. Instead, I found credit alert. New car lease. 2023 BMW X7. I never bought a BMW. I've driven the same damn Ford Ranger for 9 years. She'd used my name, my credit, my life, like it was hers to rearrange. That's when I messaged Chloe, my assistant, sharp as nails, loyal, and discreet. I typed 5 words. Pull everything. Last 40 days. No details. No explanations. Just trust. 15 minutes later, she called me using a hospital-friendly encrypted app. Raphael, are you sitting down? I half laughed. I've been lying flat for weeks. She's moved money, lots of it, out of joint accounts, into an account in her sister's name. Also, your name's off 2 of your rental deeds. Transferred digitally. She used your power of attorney. My old POA, the one I signed in 2018 during my hernia surgery. She'd kept a copy. Kept it hidden, used it like a crowbar. It wasn't sloppy. It wasn't emotional. It was organized, deliberate, like she'd studied my habits, my passwords, my every move, like she'd been preparing for this. For a long time. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. The engineer in me kicked back in. Blueprints, angles, strategy. If this was a build, she was already laying the final bricks. House, car, cash, a new life, funded by my body being on the verge of death. She didn't just leave, she extracted, surgically, and I lay there, silent, heart monitor steady, eyes burning, from anger, from shock, from realization. She wasn't scared I'd die. She was banking on it, and she was planning a life without me in it. She wasn't just divorcing me, she was erasing me. It started with a court filing I wasn't supposed to see. Chloe flagged it while scanning for asset transfers. Raphael, there's something else. You're listed in a conservatorship motion, filed 3 days ago. I didn't understand at first. Why would I need a conservator? I was conscious, cognitively sound, breathing on my own again. Then I opened the PDF, and I saw it. Right there in black and white, filed by Layla Thomas, requesting full conservatorship over my medical and financial decisions. She told the court I was mentally unfit to manage my own estate, that the coma had caused severe neurological impairment, that I'd been unable to express coherent thought, that I had no meaningful understanding of legal or financial matters. And she'd attached a letter, supposedly from my attending physician. But it wasn't signed. It wasn't even on hospital letterhead. Just a plain document with medical jargon. Probably something she copied off WebMD. She didn't inform that court that she was in the process of divorcing me. I sat there, jaw locked, heart like a ticking clock. She wasn't worried about me. She was disarming me. Systematically, legally, silently. Then came the email, forwarded to me by one of the senior partners at Palladian. Subject line: updates regarding Raphael Thomas's current status. It was from her personal email, not my work account, and it was signed, sent on behalf of Raphael Thomas by Layla Thomas. She wrote that I was in recovery, but likely to step away indefinitely due to cognitive issues. She posed as me. She emailed my employer, my team, the company I helped build from concrete and steel, and began severing me from it like I was a broken beam. I wasn't just being left. I was being removed. Like a stain. Like an obstacle. This wasn't abandonment, I said aloud. There was no one else in the room, but my voice shook the air. This was an ambush, and yet, didn't throw things, didn't curse her name. That would have made me look exactly like what she claimed I was: unstable, broken. So instead, I started drafting. I opened CAD software on the hospital laptop, not to draw blueprints of buildings, but to map her architecture. Every move she made, every dollar shifted, every document filed, I'd counter-engineer it. Quiet fury rose inside me. Not fire, ice, cold, focused, deadly. She wanted a man too weak to respond. What she got was a man who built responses for a living. If she wanted a war, I'd give her a blueprint. The woman who built her future on my coma forgot I designed systems for a living. By the time I could sit up without vomiting, my lawyer already had 3 binders. Evidence. Every document, every transaction, every digital footprint she thought she'd erased. Hospital logs? Tracked. Layla and Jack Mateo had visited my room 6 times. Always together. Never stayed more than 10 minutes. Never brought flowers, clothes, or even a cup of water. But the nurse station kept timestamps. Security had badge records. Every move was recorded. The accounts? My assistant Chloe traced transfers across 5 institutions. From joint accounts to personal accounts. From those to a gift account in her sister's name. And from there into a brand new shell company she opened 2 weeks after my collapse. A company registered under her maiden name. Planned, engineered, predatory. But the nail in the coffin? My home security system. She'd forgotten the cameras. Or maybe she thought I was too far gone to check the footage. What she didn't know is I'd upgraded the system months ago. Dual cloud backup, night vision, 60-day retention. Chloe pulled the feed. There she was, 2 days after I went into a coma, wearing gloves, packing up my watches, my external hard drives, 3 framed awards, even my grandfather's medals from the Marines. She wasn't mourning. She was clearing inventory. I didn't yell. I didn't rant. I called my lawyer and said 4 words. Let's file for fraud. We didn't call her. Didn't give a warning. No demands. No threats. We filed conservatorship fraud, financial exploitation, identity theft, and breach of fiduciary duty. My case was airtight because it was hers, built from her own fingerprints. A week later, I walked into the courtroom, still a little pale, still a little weak, but standing. Alive, breathing, not erased. She turned around slowly. Her face collapsed in on itself, like a house gutted from the inside, like someone had pulled the floor out from under her heels. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. In a way, she had, because the version of me she thought she buried was never coming back. I didn't speak once. Didn't need to. My lawyer did the talking. The judge did the rest. Layla tried to smile, tried to explain. Stress, she said. Confusion. She even cried. But the judge wasn't interested in performance. Only proof. He flipped through pages, glanced at screens, nodded once, then said, "This is not a matter of confusion. It is a matter of calculated deception." Her lawyer tried to object. Denied. I sat still, stone silent. No rage. No outburst. Because truth doesn't need volume. It only needs clarity. The judge said more than I ever needed to. She tried to erase me, but she buried herself. The gavel came down harder than any punch I could have thrown. Divorce? Dismissed. Restraining order? Granted. Conservatorship? Denied. With prejudice. Judge's words, not mine. This court recognizes a clear and deliberate attempt to exploit a medical crisis for personal gain. Her face didn't move. She was frozen, like someone just realizing the ice cracked beneath their feet 3 steps ago. She lost everything in 1 day. The house deed was restored to me. The accounts? Locked. Frozen. Access revoked. Even the car, the one she bought using my name while I was intubated, was repossessed that same afternoon. She left the courthouse with nothing but her purse and the sound of her own heels echoing in an empty hallway. Word travels fast in our town. First, silence. Friends stopped answering her calls. Even her sister ghosted her. Probably didn't want to go down with the ship she helped steer. People at the gym looked away. The stylist who used to post her selfies deleted the whole folder. No pity, no sympathy, just space. And whispers. Me? I went back to work. Palladian Construction welcomed me like a soldier returning from war. They gave me the one thing I didn't expect. Promotion. Regional Director. East Division. They said, "You built systems that withstood disaster. Now build something bigger." A week later, they posted the photo. Me, standing tall, still a little lean from the hospital, but alive, smiling, in a sharp gray suit, shaking hands with the CEO. That photo went viral. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, even Reddit got hold of it. Headline: Man survives coma, exposes wife's scheme, gets promoted to regional director. She saw it. I know she did. She sent a text. Just one dot. Like she didn't know how to begin. I never answered. Because ghosts don't get closure. She planned for me to die. She counted on it. She bet her future on my last breath. But I didn't stop breathing. I came back. Stronger. Sharper. Unbreakable. Funny thing about bridges. They hold weight. They carry you across. But if you overload them with lies, greed, betrayal, they snap. And when they snap, they don't take down the engineer. They take down the one who forgot who built them in the first place. And her legal woes were only just beginning. She became a ghost before she was ever gone. She bet everything I'd stay in that hospital bed. Silent, broken, gone. But she forgot something. I don't die easy. I design foundations. I survive collapses. And I rebuild. Stronger. Wiser. She tried to bury me. But I wasn't the one in the grave. Here's some questions for you. Our viewers, if someone betrayed you while you were fighting for your life, could you ever forgive them? Do you think people show their true colors in moments of crisis? Or in moments of opportunity? What would you have done if you woke up from a coma and found out your spouse filed for divorce? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming stories.